Welcome to the Podium. This is a weekly sports show. We shoot live in LA every Thursday. There's two LA comedians, Niles, Abston,
What's up, y'all?
Abbenante, and then straight from Chicago, the sports journalist, the man with all the knowledge, Russell Dorsey.
Hey.
What's going on?
Good to hear from you, man. Good to hear from you. So, let's see. Actually, do you want to turn them up?
Yeah.
Let's turn them up, actually.
There we go. So people can hear you, bro.
Yeah, let's get you right there. Alright. Cool. So, first of all, it's been a crazy week.
Yeah.
Niles, weren't you on? We talked about Crack 'em Up yet?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Went up, did my thing, then Dave Chappelle and Marlon Wayans decided to drop in. That was crazy. So yeah, yeah, it was just a crazy show. It was fun. You know, you feeling yourself, you made the people laugh, you feel good, and then you see Marlon Wayans and Dave Chappelle go up. And like after when Dave Chappelle was like doing his thing, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna quit comedy. I'm gonna throw all my jokes out. You know, it's just the dude. I mean, Dave Chappelle is just, he's amazing. Dave Chappelle was great. Like I was saying, I mean, it was like an out of body experience watching him perform and getting to see it live. Like seeing Dave live and seeing him on a special or TV, it's completely different. So if you get a chance to see Dave Chappelle live, please take advantage of that.
It's just crazy because he's like probably actually the best modern comedian of the 21st century.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's like almost like you're playing a pickup game and then Michael Jordan just stopped by.
Hey guys, want to run real quick? No, Michael, we don't. You know,
it's you're like I'm learning. I'm trying to get better at this, and then you literally see one of the greatest of all time. You know, he like dunks, everyone goes nuts, and it's like, wow, I got a lot to learn.
Yeah, it's so fun. But yeah, so if you're in LA, check out the Crack 'em Up Thursday show at the Comedy Store every Thursday night at 10 o'clock. You never know who could pop in. Like Tiffany Haddish used to do the show regular. Leslie Jones used to host the show back in the day. So like, come check it out. It's it's always a good show every week. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Russell, you got? Have you written any new pieces lately?
Oh yeah, you're on the Baseball Prospectus thing. That was dope.
Yeah, today you wrote a story for Baseball Prospectus. Just, the Cubs fans up here are really upset that they didn't win. And they have a couple players that they've become really accustomed to acting, and they might have to move those guys to get a little bit better. So, wrote a story about Jackie Bradley Jr., center fielder for the Red Sox, who could be a target for the Cubs coming up here in the offseason. So check that out. The link actually is on our Instagram and Facebook, I believe, for 310.
Yeah, it's a good article. I read it.
It's really
Jackie Bradley Jr. I've been a fan of Jackie Bradley Jr. since he was playing in South Carolina, like since his freshman year. It's just he makes great plays on the wall. You know, he's consistent at the plate. It's a good player, man.
He's a small dude, and I like that. You know.
Yeah, he's like 5'6", 5'7".
Him, me, and Jose Altuve, we all hang out. We all ask people to like reach for stuff for us. It's great.
Right.
But yeah, check out Russell's article. It's incredible writing. You got to check out one of the young up and coming sports journalists. Yeah. So let's get to our topics. It's the Podium, so we organize the biggest sports stories of the week by gold, silver, and bronze medal topics. And so we're going to start off with our bronze topics, what we think are the third biggest stories of the week. So, Russell, start us off. What's your bronze medal topic this week?
My bronze medal topic is from the football world. Owner Jim Irsay is in a little bit of hot water. Apparently, when Tony Dungy was on the Dan Patrick show this week, after the segment or whatever was over, and everybody thought they were done rolling, the microphone was still on, and it came out that he said that owner Jim Irsay believes that Andrew Luck's injury concerns are all in his head. This is a big deal. That's your franchise player, your franchise quarterback, and you think that he is kind of nutty about his own injury, which is a pretty big deal because in the grand scheme of things, the only person that knows about his body is Andrew Luck. Like, you can go to all the doctors, you can go to all the different trainers and medical staff, but if you don't feel good, you don't feel good. So I think that, it's Jim Irsay. He's one of those owners who likes to meddle and likes to open his mouth because, he owns the team, but this was definitely not a good look. I don't know how this. I don't think they trade Andrew Luck or anything but it definitely. You might have a little LeBron James, Dan Gilbert type of situation with those two.
So it was Jim Irsay whose mic was still on.
No, it was Tony Dungy's it was Tony Dungy's microphone that was still on, and he was saying that he talked to Jim Irsay, and Jim Irsay says that Andrew Luck's injury concerns are all in his head.
Oh, okay. Because when you said, I was kind of like on edge because you said Jim Irsay's mic was still on. I was like, dang, old rich white guy. He probably said the N-word or something. you let me down, Russ.
You know that on Sunday Night Football, it's Tony Dungy,
right.
Dan Patrick, and Ryan Harrison.
Right.
So I believe Tony Dungy's a regular guest on Dan Patrick's show.
He is.
And his mic was on, of course, which is one of those things you shouldn't say things, especially when you're mic'd up. And he said that when talking to Jim Irsay that he believes that Andrew Luck's concerns are all in his head.
Well, just for context, Jim Irsay is one of the more buffoonish owners in the NFL. He got the gig through nepotism. His dad used to own the Baltimore Colts and then moved them in the middle of the night, and so it's just a family of assholes, really. And Jim Irsay especially, he is such a little brat. Like I remember last time he was in the news, he took too many pills and was just a mess. And for all the crap we gave Tiger Woods for his little pill escapade, Jim Irsay was a mess. Yeah. But he was in Indianapolis and no one cares. Yeah, right. So it's just he's a reckless owner, and so I don't really trust anything he says, but I do think it might be a little bit of a mental issue with Andrew Luck. But here's the thing, Jim Irsay, your dumbass never got a GM who properly constructed a team around him, so he's been taking shots like David Carr. Yeah. Okay, and so at some point your quarterback is going to get punch drunk, and it's going to affect their decision making. And honestly, I wouldn't want to go out on the field with the team you got right now. That offensive line has never been good for Andrew Luck.
No, it hasn't.
I think it's just a byproduct.
Yeah, and it sucks because Andrew Luck coming into the league, there's so much promise and everything, but I think the lack of an offensive line really hurt his development, and we've seen that over the last couple of years. He's just even when he wasn't hurt, he wasn't having that great of a season the last time he was playing. So it sucks because I really like Andrew Luck at Stanford, and it sucks that your owner's talking about you like that.
Well, he really balls out. He really tries hard. He takes a lot of shots.
Yeah, he does.
He's
a good guy too. I like him.
And he apparently took one more shot behind the back from his owner.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's just
seriously.
Honestly, for Andrew Luck, it's one of those things. I think you bringing up Dan Gilbert at the beginning was really prescient because he is one of those guys where you were like, I hope he gets out of the ownership. Yeah. It's like whatever he does, you don't feel bad. You feel bad for him and not the ownership group.
Yeah, I know. I'm not telling Tony Dungy he has no secrets. God damn.
Yeah.
Old ass nigga can't keep nothing to himself.
One thing that Eric brought up, I think this is 100% correct. Injuries are mental. Like when if you think about Derrick Rose after the ACL. Yeah. And how after the Bulls doctors cleared him and said, all right, Derrick can play, Derrick can practice, and Derrick was still like, you know what, I still don't feel 100%. And there's these guys in sports, no matter what sport it is, who are known as 100%ers. Yeah. And so what that is guys who will not play hurt. Like, they will have to be 100% before they get out on the field to practice or play. Yeah. And I mean, you don't never like to say somebody's not tough.
I can't blame you.
You don't use somebody like that, but there are guys who will go out there and say, you know what? Until I feel like I'm at my best, I'm not going to go out there and further put myself at risk or injure myself.
Exactly.
And
yeah, that 100%er thing is 100% correct. That's a great.
As you're going to have some concerns. Like I tore my Achilles when I was 18, and honestly. It's one of those things. I couldn't run for a year, and then even after I did it, I still had that mental barrier I had to get over before I started running again. So
right,
you make a good point. Injuries also, it's highly dependent on your age. Yeah. So before 25, if you have a surgery, your body has the elasticity to recover up to 100%. But after 25, surgeons will tell you that every year after 25, you really have a tough time recovering up to 100% like you were because your body's losing that elasticity.
Yeah.
And so the issue with Andrew Luck is he is getting older and older, and he has taken a lot of these injuries in the lower part of his body and the upper part of his body. And so that's where it gets really tricky. And for him, I don't blame him because, like we said, he has no protection. And so you have that mental mindset. You have that mindset of like, oh my God, I don't have help, and my defense sucks, and I have to get 35, and I'm gonna get pounded. And he's, like you said, there are 100%ers, people who can only play when they're perfect. There's actually people like Ben Roethlisberger who are not 100%ers, but they complain 100% of the time while being injured, and then they like to make themselves up to be even bigger than they are. Yeah. So it's like it's interesting, but to be honest, I'm on Andrew Luck's side here.
Same.
If he was on a different team, maybe I'd have different thoughts, but they're kind of like the Browns, but with a shinier logo at this point. They don't have much around them. All right, is that pretty much it for the bronze medal topic?
Yeah, man, that's it for me.
All right, Niles, what's your first topic this week?
All right, we're going down to Philly with it. Free my nigga Jaleel, man. Free Jaleel. All right, they got the man held hostage like it's Rikers Island or something. Let the man play. If you're not gonna play him, trade him off. Sixers, like I don't understand. Like you drafted him up high. I understand he hasn't maybe lived up to the hype per se, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like Jaleel Okafor cannot play basketball. Like he's not even getting on the floor. You can tell he's frustrated. There's a lot going on with the team management and Jaleel Okafor right now, and so they say that no other team in the NBA is checking for him right now, which I don't necessarily believe either. So it's just like if you guys were in Philadelphia's, I guess, general manager spot, what do you do with Jaleel Okafor? Do you continue to just let a player with the talent that he has just sit on the bench because you don't think he fits in the system or you don't think he's playing hard enough? Or do you try to find a deal and try to trade him off or do something, or buy him out?
For me, personally, I think Jaleel Okafor still has a lot of talent.
Same.
The one issue you have with the skill set that he has, it's a transition league right now.
Yeah.
And he's a put my back to the basket and post up type of center.
Yeah.
And that's really not the flavor of the month right now in the NBA.
Yeah.
But there's still room for Jaleel Okafor in the NBA today.
Exactly.
He might not be able to play 40 minutes, but he can give you 27, 28, 29 minutes and put up 17 and 2, no problem.
Exactly. LaMarcus Aldridge is in the league. You got guys like Greg Monroe in the league. I mean,
Al Jefferson.
Al Jefferson is just so, the league moves fast, but I think at the end of the day, the NBA is always a big man's game. If you have a bigger guy that can score, you're going to be in a good position. And I think whoever does get Jaleel Okafor, because I think the Sixers will part ways with him, I think will inherit a player that has some good left. I mean, how old is he? He's like 21, 22?
He's
like
very young.
22, 23.
Like, he's a kid. Like,
He's very young, but at this point, he's been redshirted on the Sixers for like 2 years.
Exactly,
now.
And so it's just like if he's healthy, if he's ready to go, either play him or I say buy him out or trade him off. I just don't see. As an athlete, I can't just keep somebody just sitting down like that. I have to figure something out.
Well, I do think it is an issue of, like Russell said, he doesn't fit the system they want to play.
Yeah.
And if you look at how the Sixers are playing right now, they're playing pretty damn good.
Yeah, they are.
And Jaleel Okafor would be counter to that, but I do agree with you. Like, if he comes off the bench,
right,
goes against their second unit,
he could get buckets.
He would be very effective. But I do wonder if it's an effort or defensive issue because he's
not the best on defense.
He had
No.
I remember
again, there's a lot of players that aren't the best on defense. Though.
Yeah, but at Duke, that was the major concern when he came out of college was, will he give up enough effort on defense? Will he even have the skills to compete on defense? And
right.
So, this is a league at this point. You got to play two ways. Defense it's at a premium at this point.
Right.
And so I think for the Sixers, look at how long and devastating that team is. They're two ways effective, and I feel like Jaleel might be one way effective, and in multiple ways, like Russell said, you're kind of a dinosaur in this league. If you can't play two ways, and if your back is to the basket all the time. I look at a guy like on the Utah Jazz, Derek Favors. He developed a three-pointer for some reason. It's a little weird, but hey, it's giving him more versatility in the offense. It is. Anything, give him more minutes, you know?
Right. It's true.
One of the things before we go to your topic here, Jaleel Okafor, one of the places he's rumored to go to if he gets bought out is Chicago. Yeah. Of course, he's from the area, played at Whitney Young High School here in town before he went to Duke. And, the Bulls suck, right? So they're a team that, they have room on their roster for projects and for guys who you want to see what their abilities and talents are. And I think if you put Jaleel Okafor on the Bulls and let him play 20 minutes a game, I think you might have something there.
Yeah.
I just think one of the other things I thought about with one of the deficiencies he has, even when he was at Duke, one thing that always stood out to me was maybe it was a conditioning issue of why Jaleel might not have been able to give his best on defense. When you're posting up, even though you're giving a lot of effort, you're not really moving much. When you're the defensive end, you have to slide, you have to get to the post when somebody's driving in, help defense. That takes a lot out of a big man. So maybe the conditioning has been an issue for Jaleel.
That's a good point. That kind of reminds me of Enes Kanter, plays for the Thunder. He's like this offensive guy, but he only works in spurts, and he's not always in the best shape, and he really starts to detract towards the fourth quarter. And then these guys who, they take off the effort on defense, like, we see you. The eye is always in the sky now, and I think more than ever, people are noticing when you take a break on defense.
Yeah, but it's just like he hasn't really had an opportunity to really show himself this new season. So I would like to see him get an opportunity to at least do something. He's on the payroll.
He should be getting 15 to 25 minutes on the bench minimum.
Right. Yeah. So hopefully he finds a new team. Free Jaleel.
I love the Chicago trade. I think that's a great spot for him. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, free Jaleel, man.
All right. Well, speaking of freeing someone, this is one of the most fascinating stories, and it's developing as we speak. Out in England, Eniola Aluko is pretty much becoming the Colin Kaepernick of the British women's national team over there. Okay. She has 102 caps, and in 2016, she was kicked off the team for unsubstantiated claims of bullying from her coach. And then it came out very recently that her coach asked her, and she's Nigerian British, and her coach asked her if she had Ebola and if that would affect team travels. Wow. And then not only that, but the coach, who's Mark Sampson, who has recently been fired, he went behind the back of her and asked all of her teammates, how many times has Eniola been arrested? And he has to have no one else on the team, obviously. And here's the thing, she really sticks out on that team like a sore thumb. It's just lily white people and then a Nigerian British person. Yeah. And so it's got to be hard for her. She's done 102 caps, and so there's clear evidence of bullying, in my opinion, and yet she's still not on the team. Right. And just today, she said that it's because the comments that were made towards her, the racist comments, the media wouldn't pick up on it. It would be more picked up on as if it was homophobic. So I want to ask you guys, first of all, do you think it is harder to be... Do you think what she said is true, that it's hard? It's hard. Like, it's still harder to be deal with racist stuff than homophobia, I guess.
I mean, I get what she's saying, because I think especially just like with the focus and the world's climate, not just America's climate, on just being politically correct and things like that. So a lot of homophobic things that have been okay for a long time are just now being stamped. Yeah. Whereas racism has been one of those things that black people of color have been fighting about for a long, long time. So it's like a lot of these things that are covert, that are necessarily like out in the open, kind of go to the wayside and are just kind of like whatever. Like Bob McNair's comments, all these different kind of things that are basically racist, but it's not so racist as to like it's not like so public, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, but things like with even like under like a covert homophobia and things like that, those things are starting to be stamped out because it's been a thing that's just been okay. Being like literally until about 10, 12 years ago, being homophobic out in the open was totally okay. Like you could say, I don't want to say the word on the air, but the F word, and you could you can make jokes about gay people and things like that. It's not
Kobe. The Kobe was an encapsulation of that. Like
he called the referee the F.
He called the referee the F word, and the thing is, pretty much it had been the norm, but because he was so big, he was the first one to they made an example out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so and it sucks for her because it's just like. You're already being a professional athlete is already so hard, and then you add in the fact of having to deal with racism on your job, and it's just like Russ can attest to this. Not even being a professional athlete, just a black person on a regular job. You're already working the job. You're already doing all these things. Now you got to deal with racism from your boss, and it seems like sports is a money thing, so it's an old white man's business, and so it's just like. You can't really bring an old white man down when his boss is an old white man and the team is owned by an old white man. So it's like, what can you really do?
There's nothing older and whiter and more powerful than England.
Yeah,
that's where we started. You know, King George and everything. I mean, this is tough because, football in Europe in general, they've had campaigns that say no to racism for a reason because they've had a lot more racist stuff at their games than we do at our games, to be fair. Yeah. To be fair, and like so it's it's got to be tough for her, and she's done 100 international caps. This is someone who is a very valuable player, and to me it's a total corollary to Colin Kaepernick because the teammates on the British national team are saying she's not being loyal enough to the team. She's creating a media circus which is a distraction for the team, and that's not what you're supposed to do. And in the end, it's just like Colin Kaepernick. Like, he's protesting something he should totally be allowed to protest, and so should she. Yeah. And they're both being punished for it just because you're making people feel uncomfortable, and you're hurting, and being uncomfortable might go against what the team's goals are. Yeah. But I feel like you're not a team if you don't back up your girl in that situation. Yeah. And the British national team and FIFA had to come out and apologize for this guy's comments, yet she still hasn't been reinstated on the team.
Yeah, it's more of a saving face thing. I don't really care about her.
Honestly, it might be, if you think about the teammate perspective, it might be worse than Colin Kaepernick's situation in San Francisco because if you think about it, Colin Kaepernick was supported by 99% of his teammates in San Francisco, even best teammate award his last year in France. So, I mean, this situation, as far as teammates are concerned, wayward.
Yeah, and ironically, one of the women who made the comment was named Lucy Bronze, who's on the team, and she, I totally didn't agree with what she was saying. I felt like she threw her teammate under the bus. Yeah. And to me, if I'm Lucy Bronze's teammate, do I know she has my back in a tough situation? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And so I am in full support of Eniola, who, to have to go through something institutional like that where your coach is against you. Right. And she was still I thought, very classy in saying, into Lucy Bronze's comments, she was just like, I think she's a great footballer and she exemplifies what it's about the British national team, and she's proven that. Right. She took the total high road. I wouldn't have. Yeah. I would have told her to fuck off. Yeah. But, it's like she's dealt with a lot, and so I'm surprised it's not a bigger story over here, but it's definitely a big story over in England.
Yeah, and her teammates, like Russ is saying, it kind of parallels some of the white football players in these locker rooms that have said the black players protesting are a distraction or is dividing the locker room and things like that. Because I think a lot of white athletes don't in fact a lot of white fans and white people, when they look at sports, we don't want politics in sports and this kind of thing, and it's because their privilege allows them to separate things from a political point of view, whereas black people, pretty much everything we do, in a way, even existing, is political because we were property of this country. And so a lot of white athletes don't understand, like, oh, why do you got to bring all that race stuff to the games? Like, bro, what do you mean bring all this race stuff? I'm black. I experienced racism. I didn't bring this race stuff. It just happened. And so when black people address these things, we're bringing a distraction to a game that everybody just enjoys. And it's crazy to me how people complain, like, oh, I just want to watch the game. Okay, well, I just don't want to deal with racism anymore. Like, so, and I feel really bad for her that her teammates probably look at her like, oh, you're bringing a distraction. Like, no, I just showed up and I'm black and the coach was racist. Like, I didn't make this happen. And a lot of times when people of color and black people protest or bring up racism, they say you're playing the race card, when in actuality you're just reacting to a system white people have already created. So it's just like, if you don't want black people or people of color to complain about racism, stop racism. That would be great, you know.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm pretty detached from the situation. I'm not black, I'm not gay, and I recognize that both being black and gay, it's like you're born that way, it's not a choice. But if you told me, what would you rather be? What would be least scary?
Neither.
I would choose gay 100 times out of 100. Okay, it's an easier road. I would take the dick away way quicker than take the mental in, because look, it's still harder to be black in America than being gay, or even not in America. This part of what I wanted to show is that cross-culturally, the African experience is racism, prejudice, and institutionally, it's bent against you. And so it's just, I just wanted to show that it's not just America. Not that it helps us anyway. I'm just saying it's a problem everywhere.
Yeah, I can only imagine being black and gay.
For me, no, go ahead now.
No, I was just saying, I can only imagine being black and gay, dealing with discrimination from your sexuality and your race. That must be terrible.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, you still see, and Aaron, you talking about which one is worse. I think they're both awful sometimes, because you see on the news, people still get killed for being gay.
You saw that little boy?
Yeah,
His dad killed him. I cried a little bit reading that, man. That kid was 14 years old, and he said he thought he was gay, and his dad killed him.
Thought he was gay.
Yeah. And I don't want to downplay any of the extreme homophobia in, like, the Caribbean, Chechnya, a lot of Muslim countries, a lot of countries here, like a lot of places in our area. We all have serious homophobia, terrible attitudes towards gay people. But even with all that being said, it's still harder being black. And in most areas of the world, it's just harder to be black still. And that's just unfortunate. And, it's just a lot of people who say racism's over. And it's like, look around.
Look at this. And I guarantee that girls' teammates are the main ones saying, "Oh, we're not racist." And that's this thing. It's like this alarm goes off in white people's heads when you call them racist, and like they're more mad about being called racist than racism actually happening, which shows that you're a racist.
Yeah, so. That's well said. All right, so we are gonna go to a commercial break. You're gonna see a commercial for a show hosted by Niles Abston himself, Secret Black People Meeting. And we'll be right back.
Episode 8. I'm your host, Niles Abston. I hope you had a great Halloween. I know I did. I only saw about 83 racist Halloween costumes, so it's down from last year. We're getting better, guys. We're improving, and that's what it's all about. I know O.J. Simpson, he had a great Halloween. He got to pass out candy to trick-or-treaters at his house. It was a pretty popular spot for Halloween, and he did it all while dressed up as one of America's favorite murderers. I had a pretty good week. I can't complain. I got to perform for my first time at the world-famous Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard here in Hollywood. Probably the coolest thing about it, Crack 'em Up Thursdays, was Marlon Wayans and Dave Chappelle dropping in as special guests and just shutting the room down. It was a great time for everybody, and I really learned a lot, so thank you to the two of you for coming. But not everybody had as good of a week as we did. Tyrese, what's going on, man? America, if you're like me, it's hard to watch a dark-skinned man crying on camera. It's hard. But Denzel, if you're watching, I think I know who you need to cash for fences too if you need an ugly crier.
All right, and we're back. You just saw a commercial for Secret Black People Meeting here on Channel 310, hosted by Niles Abston himself.
Go watch it.
It gets better every week. You got to catch the monologue every week. It is so funny. So, we are back. We like to do the picks. We like to do NFL picks against the spread right after our bronze medal topics before we get into our silver medal topics. And so we have a podium. We have a podium of bets, and we are going to rank them gold, silver, and gold at the end. But let's start off with Russell. Russell, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is the Dallas Cowboys at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I believe the Falcons are -3 in at home, which means they're a 3-point favorite. I think that might be too low. When that line came out, it was before the injunction came down that denied Ezekiel Elliott his suspension appeal. So he's going to be out for the next 6 games. He screwed himself, screwed the team. We've talked about this for weeks now here on the podium. But I honestly see Atlanta winning this game by 10.
Damn.
First of all, I agree with Russell in that if you were thinking of betting the Falcons, jump on them now because the line by Vegas was not adjusted to the fact that Ezekiel might be out. They assumed that the stay would last another week. It did not.
Right.
So the Falcons are incredibly undervalued. And so if you like that side, jump on it now, like Russell said.
Yeah, for sure.
Bet the over.
Yeah, I definitely got Falcons by at least a touchdown. It's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely at least by a touchdown.
Yeah, I actually, I'll be honest, I like the Cowboys here. I know Ezekiel Elliott is really important to them. I think that they have good running backs behind him, first of all. It's not like they aren't deep at the position. I think they'll be pretty fiery, and to be honest, Atlanta finds ways to lose games. They're in a Super Bowl hangover. I don't trust them. So, and I think Dak Prescott is just flat out a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. I'll just say that.
We'll see.
So, all right. So, my game is Minnesota at Washington, and Washington is a home dog. They're getting 1.5 points even at home, and I'll tell you right now. This is a tough one for me. I'm having trouble. I'm going back and forth on it multiple times. Not because both teams are great. It's just they're equally good and equally bad in so many areas.
Right.
You know, what do you think, Russell?
Well, I think if you look at it, just face value, I think you have to take Minnesota. They're obviously the best team, not only in their division, but there might be one of the best teams in the NFC that people don't talk about. They have Case Keenum as their quarterback. Yeah, he's not great, but he hasn't lost them many games. He's actually played pretty well. Their defense is one of the best in the NFL. And Jerick McKinnon has done really well since Dalvin Cook tore his ACL. So they don't turn the ball over. They play great defense. They run the ball. They use the short pass game as a run game. And Case Keenum doesn't turn the ball over. So I really see the Vikings should be the favorite pretty handily here.
Okay.
I always wonder which Washington Redskins team is going to show up.
That fourth quarter last week.
You beat Seattle and then you struggle to beat the Rams. Like they go back and forth a lot where the team when they play down teams, they play up to teams.
Yeah.
And I really think that Washington at home, it's a whirlwind. But I'm gonna take them here. I really think that you gotta blindly guess with Washington. Is this gonna be a good week or a bad week? And I really think this is a good week based on really no evidence. I just feel like they're gonna be feeling themselves after the Seahawks win.
The only reason, Eric, I would pick against that is I don't trust Kirk Cousins against the Vikings defense.
Yeah.
I mean
Vikings defense causes turnovers.
That's true, but he went up against the Legion of Boom and still managed to squeak out a win there. So it's tough. It's tough. I totally get what you're saying, Russell, and you could totally be right. I just think it's just a flip of the coin with Washington. And I'm taking the guess that they're going to do well this week.
I think it's going to be one of those low scoring, grinded out games. I got Vikings by field goal.
It will definitely be determined by turnovers. Okay. This is going to be one of those games where
I see a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, a defensive touchdown could seal it for sure. So, Niles, what's the last game you got?
I got Bills at Saints. I don't know. I picked the Saints are my team. I've been picking against them every week, and they win. I'm playing like mind tricks.
They're your team, yeah.
They're my team. I pick against them, and I don't watch the games, and they've been winning. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm just gonna keep that train going. I'm gonna go Bills by 3. That's what I got. Cause I don't know.
Bills by 3 means they're gonna push, and you're gonna push the bet. So. But it's obvious. The interesting thing about New Orleans at Buffalo. It's a weird week this week. This is the only game where 2 teams with the winning record are facing each other.
Exactly. And I've not sold on both of them making the playoffs. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, especially Buffalo.
Yeah.
I know the AFC East really well, being a Dolphins fan. And Buffalo is a really scrappy, pesky team. Tyrod Taylor, he makes plays, but he doesn't necessarily play the position, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He can scramble, and he can get some decent passes, but he is not a surgeon back there by any means.
Right.
He does the Ben Roethlisberger thing.
Mediocre quarterback in the NFL right now.
He buys time very well, though. I think you're being a little harsh on him.
And because I think mediocre people think mediocre isn't a bad term. Mediocre just means extremely average.
It is.
And I think our term is extremely average. I don't think he's above average at anything besides his athleticism.
Well, mediocre literally means below average. I don't think he's below average, actually. I think he's average. And I'm going to fight for my guy and say he's average. I think he's right in that, 15 to 18 ranking quarterbacks out of 32. And in the end, there's a lot of teams who would kill for that, okay?
Yeah, he'd be a lot worse than Tyrod Taylor. I'm not saying that by I just think he's average.
Tyrod Taylor is the greatest version of Tim Tebow you've ever seen. And he will never get credit for it. He scrambles, he throws it around. I mean, he's a winner. That's all I know. But saying all that, going against Drew Brees, who is a tactician, who is a surgeon, right. I'm taking Drew Brees every time in that situation. But Tyrod Taylor, he will win these games that he shouldn't win sometimes. So it's gonna be a tough pick. But let's see. I think that does it for the picks, right? So you got Buffalo.
I got Buffalo by 3.
You got Buffalo. Russell, what do you got?
I'm taking the Saints by 3. I really believe in Alvin Kamara, what he does for that offense, and I think Marshawn Lattimore will be able to shut down the passing game, and the Bills defense will be able to shut down the running game. And the Saints defense will be able to hold up enough against the Bills running game. So I like the Saints by 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Saints by a lot. Actually, I think the Bills are gonna get trounced, to be honest, but we'll see. To be honest, they have one of the best home field advantages. They always play up for their team, so you can make a good case to pick the Bills, but I'm not going to. All right, so that was the picks. But out of all three of those guys, out of all 3 of them, what do you think is the lock of the week? What do you think is your best bet for everyone going forward? What do you think is the one that you got to focus in on?
I actually gave the Vikings over Washington.
Really? I was going to say maybe Atlanta.
I picked the Vikings over Washington as my lock.
This is hilarious. We all have 3 different locks.
I go Atlanta.
So you're going to say Atlanta is the lock. You're going to say Minnesota is the lock. I'm going to say New Orleans the lock.
Okay.
And by the way, one quick statistic about New Orleans. They started 0-2, and if they win this game, they will have won 6 in a row.
6 straight NFL. That's
there have been 2 teams that have started 0-2 and then went 6-2 and won the Super Bowl. The first one was the Dallas Cowboys with Emmitt Smith when he held out, and then he got paid after the second game.
Yeah.
Then they went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Then the second team was those Road Warrior Giants.
9-7 Super Bowl.
And then they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So this is hefty territory. they could really be in the Super Bowl conversation after this game. And I'm not saying that lightly. To win 6 in a row after losing your first 2, they might have something. And you could blame it on Adrian Peterson too and say, we mismanaged him and he was kind of getting in the way of our team, but now we look good. Yeah. So I'm impressed by the Saints, and they're my lock. So let's get to our silver medal topics, guys. We got some good stuff. Russell, what's your silver medal topic?
My silver medal topic for this week, unfortunately, it's kind of somber. Longtime Blue Jays and Phillies starter Roy Doc Halladay died in a plane crash this week. His personal aircraft crashed into the Gulf Coast, and he passed away. What was that? Wednesday? Tuesday? Wednesday?
I think it was Tuesday.
Tuesday afternoon. It came out that a plane had crashed, and the numbers of the plane were registered to Roy Halladay, and it ended up being him who they found. Just a really tragic story. I had a friend of mine that says, "Why do I feel like more athletes pass away and die from off the field things than they ever have?" Yeah. And one thing I told him was this. I don't know if it happens more often now. I just think that now that we're older and we know more about life outside of sports and these athletes outside of sports, this is probably how our parents felt when like a guy like Thurman Munson, who was the MVP for the Yankees in the 70s, and he died, or Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, I was going to say Roberto was the biggest one. Roberto was the Buddy Holly of sports. When he went down, that was truly tragic.
Yeah, it felt throughout the sports world. So I think we're kind of getting that feel of how that kind of was. Like, Doc Halladay was a guy people loved around the game of baseball. Yeah. And not to mention he was an amazing pitcher, borderline Hall of Famer. Right. Just a little to list his numbers: 203 victories, only 105 losses, 3.38 ERA, 67 complete games, which in this era of baseball was unheard of. When guys were only pitching 5, 6, and 7 innings, he's going out there and giving 9 innings. Only guy to throw 2 no-hitters in the same season, one of which being a perfect game, and another was a no-hitter in the first game of the playoffs, I believe. Yeah. Just a great pitcher. Unfortunate story. You feel for his family, and he had children. So he was a coach of a little league team. Like, this sucks all the way around.
Man.
It's one of those things. My dad loves to fly. His nephew, one of my uncles, he's a pilot, and it kind of draws people in. It's one of those things. It's really beautiful when you do it, but it is incredibly dangerous. And the smaller the plane, the more dangerous it is. And it is really unfortunate. And in Florida, I know when I went to see my girlfriend in Florida, the way the weather changes, there's like they joke that the weather's schizophrenic all the time there. So you get like patches of lightning, and so it's really bad. And in Florida, who is that? I feel bad I forget this guy's name. Who was the Marlins guy with the boat who died?
Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, Jose Fernandez. Just a great talent, a pitcher too. And he went out in a similar accident, but with a boat. And it's a real shame. But in the end, these guys want to live after their career is over. Mm-hmm. And I know people like this, including my dad, who this is something they would love to do if they had the time and the money. Just fly around all day. It is kind of serene and beautiful, but it is also dangerous, and especially those small planes in these tropical storm areas. It's really dangerous.
Yeah. Prayers up for Roy Halladay's family. I know that's tough. That's tough.
And a really, really good pitcher, and like you said, like a throwback, like. Only like CC Sabathia really reminded me of him, where he could go 9 all the time, complete games. Yeah. So valuable.
You think of some of the great pitchers from the early 2000s. You think CC with the Indians. You think of Doc Halladay with the Blue Jays. Those are 2 of the workhorse pitchers in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and wasn't he like really tall and domineering on the mound, kind of like Randy Johnson?
Yeah, he was kind of like just like a 6'6", beard. just kind of like a lanky type of guy out there, and was just dominating guys.
Dude, I always just was impressed with how no nonsense and how he was just professional out there, and he was on some pretty bad Phillies teams too, and I don't think he complained that much. So, it's a real shame, and rest in peace, Doc. And he had a cool ass nickname too. I gotta give him Doc Halladay. That's cool as hell. What a shame, but there is really no artful way to transition from that to our next story, but we will. Niles, what's your silver medal topic?
Man, the Celtics tearing the NBA up right now, 10 straight, with Kyrie Irving leading the way with no Gordon Hayward. Like that's a scary team. There's a lot of young guns on the team, a lot of raw talent that people are looking at as potential guys, but they're actually playing very well on the floor together right now. Jaylen Brown is looking like a star right now. Jason Tatum is really filling in. Al Horford's playing well, protecting the rim, and Kyrie Irving is just making people look stupid right now. Like, I mean, I feel like every night I got 2 or 3 highlight plays from Kyrie Irving that I got to watch on Twitter or something. He is really. I had my doubts on him leading a team by himself because we saw him in Cleveland the pre-LeBron days. I mean, I think they won 30 games in 3 seasons. It's terrible, but it's just he's looking like a leader, a superstar, an offensive juggernaut. He's killing. I mean, his from 3-point range, from mid range, getting to the basket. I saw him. He crossed up. Who did he cross up the other night that I saw? I can't remember.
The entire Lakers team.
Yeah, the entire Lakers team. He crossed Kuzma up and came back, spun off somebody and got to the rim. I was like, this is
split the double team. Yeah.
He is. I mean, he might. I say. After Steph Curry, he's got the best handles in the NBA.
I say he has better handles than Steph because he does it with more athleticism.
Yeah, I know. I don't think Steph can.
If Steph is less athletic, shouldn't that mean his handles are probably better? Because look at the stuff he does. Steph isn't the fastest guy on the court or the biggest guy, but he's getting around everybody and getting to the rim.
Kyrie is the best finisher at the rim in the NBA. He's the best driver in terms of the guards. There's
this guy named Russell Westbrook. I need to chill.
I know the way Kyrie gets the rim.
I don't know. I think finisher. I think Kyrie's the best finisher in the league, pound for pound.
Yeah, it's just the highlights of how he gets some of those layups in.
Yeah,
he has the most circus layups.
He's amazing.
I've seen since Iverson.
Yeah,
the ability to spin the ball off the glass like he does is. People don't do that.
His master of English is like a pool player.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He knows it in his head. He is so good at that, and also his defense is
gotten a lot better.
A new level.
Brad Stevens' system, man. If you're gonna play for that Celtics team, you're playing defense.
Well, I think, to be honest, Kyrie was. It's part of this is his team now, and so he's taking ownership of it. And when you're the leader, you set an example.
Yeah. And
I feel like he's actually doing a really good job of setting an example and showing I am a championship caliber leader.
Exactly.
And LeBron, you better watch out because my team is not struggling right now like your team.
Exactly. Do you guys think the Celtics are gonna keep this up?
Oh yeah, I think first of all when you said
you think this is something we need to get used to?
Oh yeah, when you said Kyrie was making people look stupid, I think Danny Ainge was making people look stupid. That Jason Tatum trade is looking better every single day.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's great.
But what do you think, Russell? What do you think?
I think when you look at the best coaches in the NBA, of course, our guy Pop is right at the top.
Exactly.
But then in that top 5, Brad Stevens is there. And that good coaching never.
He was a good coach in college.
Yeah, he was.
It carried Butler. It carried Butler to new heights. They haven't been the same since left. I mean, they're good, but they ain't Brad Stevens good.
Right.
61. Did it freeze up?
Oh yeah. Do you want to say that again?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Say it again.
Yeah, it's all good. Good coaching doesn't go into a slump, and you look at the best coaches in the NBA. You have Greg Popovich up top, and then in that top 5, Brad Stevens is there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we might look up one day or at the end of the season, and the Celtics could be the number 1 team in the East and have about 55 to 60 wins.
I can see it for sure.
In a weak East, I would be shocked if they weren't closer to 55 or 60 than they were to 50, because they should really beat up on a weak East. And to be honest, they are a deep team and they're young, so they need to play together more. So it's not like you're going to say at the end of the year, oh, we have to rest all of our old guys. You don't really have a lot of old guys. You have. I would say, isn't it 3/4 of the team is new?
Yeah.
They need to gel together. They need this time together.
Right.
And so they're kind of ahead of schedule to be getting these
Definitely.
wins like this.
Definitely.
And Kyrie, I think, is the number one. He's the number one factor, really. He's just playing on a new level that I don't think a lot of us gave him credit for having, because he played next to LeBron.
The best player in the world, so, you know.
And I think part of what you're seeing in the Cavs right now is they miss Kyrie.
Oh, for sure. You know how much you can get away with on offense with a Kyrie Irving?
Well, because it's
secondary option.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's more like he took so much of a load off of LeBron James's shoulders, and now it's back on there.
And I really think Kyrie, I know, he took a load off LeBron. I think Kyrie took a load off a lot of the supporting cast, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of them, we don't have to find our shot. They're throwing 2-3 guys at Kyrie when he comes down the lane. I'm open. And so it's just like Derrick Rose he's played okay. The other point guards in Cleveland, but they're not Kyrie Irving. They don't command the defensive presence of Kyrie Irving. D-Wade, love him. I think he's playing better on offense than I thought he would coming into Cleveland. It's not Kyrie Irving. And so it's like LeBron's playing better than last year, but there's no Kyrie Irving. And so it's just like when they get IT back, we'll see what happens, you know?
Yeah, it's they're really, I think, the class of the East right now until the Cavs kind of get their stuff together.
Because I think it's one of those things. It's like I played sports growing up. It's like you may have that one kid that's just really good at a lot of different stuff. He doesn't come to one game. You're like, oh shit, like homeboy was good, bro. Like, hey, you guard him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that. That's just how it happens. And I think they'll realize, like, damn, Kyrie was really good, and I think they took him for granted.
I think the one thing that's really valuable about Kyrie that you can't really measure is he will get you points that are literally 1 on 5. And so your team can literally stand with their hands at their hips, resting, watching, just like the rest of us, as Kyrie gets a bucket.
Because now you're expecting guys like J.R. Smith and Shumpert and Jose Calderon and stuff like that to fill that gap. How?
Yeah.
You can't ask that of them.
It really does. It hurts the spacing, because with LeBron and Kyrie, those are the two best penetrators, drivers to the rack. And so you have, if you put LeBron on one side and Kyrie on the other, it puts so much stress on your defense. And then now LeBron is he's having issues finding that same spacing because they can focus so much more on his side. And Kyrie is he's on a deeper team now. Let's be honest. He's on a deeper team, and he is truly the benefactor of it. It's impressive to watch.
And this is with no Gordon Hayward. So think next season. What is that going to look like?
No, Gordon Hayward's not going to add anything to them. He's trash. He did a sit-down interview with Paul Pierce because he can't stand up.
Hater.
Yeah, I do. I hate him. But speaking of what I would wish would happen to Gordon Hayward, my silver medal topic, George St. Pierre choked out and made Michael Bisping bleed. And that's kind of what I would hope happened to Gordon Hayward. But this is
that's your people, man. Come on. You got like 3 white guys in the NBA. You gonna choose the hate one?
Is he?
You got JJ Redick, Gordon Hayward, and Kevin Love. Come on, man.
I didn't know his last name was Haywardstein. I didn't know he was my people. You're like,
I just know ain't nobody with a duh or a luh in front of their name look like you in the league. So I made a cheer for Gordon Hayward.
I got Omri Caspi, I got Dragan Bender, and I got Jordan Farmar on the bench somewhere. And those are my boys. Fuck Gordon Hayward. Anyways, we're back.
I love you, G.
Let's talk about athletes who can actually stand and jump without breaking their bodies. So, George St. Pierre defeated Michael Bisping in UFC 217. And we've never really talked about MMA on this show. And first of all, Niles and I, one of the best comedian parties we ever went to was Conor McGregor versus Floyd.
That was a good night, man.
So we do appreciate a good fight when we see one.
Appreciate a good fight.
Did you guys check this out even?
What night was this? I'm being real, man. I'm being vulnerable with my fans. What night was this?
It was Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday. What was I doing Saturday night? Man, I was at Garage Mike, dude.
Saturday night, so
shout out to Victor Martinez. I was getting lit at Garage Mike. It's the last one.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't. I'm not gonna say I watched.
I like women, bro. I don't have time to watch a fight on Saturday. Okay,
I mean, you know what? That is true. You can't like. It is a little homoerotic. Two guys sweaty, just like rubbing up on each other, just going up. He's like, oh, he's getting them hard, and it's just like,
whoa.
You dumb as hell.
Whoa.
Isn't one of these guys gonna fight McGregor next? And that what they're trying to groom?
I think George St. Pierre. What I've actually heard is he could be groomed towards fighting Anderson Silva or Conor McGregor. I'd prefer him going against Anderson Silva. I think Conor McGregor's a little overrated, a little more.
If you want that bag, you fight Conor McGregor.
That's a great point. You make a lot more money fighting Conor McGregor.
After that fight against Floyd, every MMA fighter that can fight should have been in line. I want to fight Conor next because I'm gonna get paid.
That's such a good point. Yeah, it's kind of all about the show. And
Anderson Silva, I think you probably get a nice little pay fighting Anderson Silva too.
I think what it is, like the fight purists, they want to see Anderson Silva go against George St. Pierre, but it's like, in the end, I think you make a good point. You're gonna make a lot more money, and it's gonna be a lot bigger gate.
Fanfare, man.
And in the end, it's like you only have so many fights in you. Yeah. You are pretty much doing this for the money.
Right.
If I'm advising his camp, I would definitely tell GSP to go against Conor.
You couldn't pay me enough to be a professional fighter.
Yeah, it's tough. I would not want my kid to be even into UFC.
No.
To be honest,
I want my kid to box.
Because it's one of those things, like, we're talking about, like, the NFL and all the safety shit. Yeah. And
that's literally your job.
MMA is more popular than ever.
Literally, your job is beat the hell out of the dude in front of you. Like, I know that causes concussions. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah. The major CTE in these guys. So I don't... to me, I'm not a big fan of MMA, but...
Yeah. This is a fairly new thing. I'd like to see what 15 years from now some of these retired MMA fighters are doing, or what their health is going to be like.
Yeah, it is. They really do have rigors on them, and what they don't really talk about is there's a lot of like Adderall usage and other stimulants and
to get that adrenaline going.
Yeah, it's just everyone's really doing roids and stuff in the off season. It's tough.
That's definitely not
I definitely respect the fact that it's like boxing plus like 14 other skills essentially.
Yeah, you have to be
you have to be a jack of all trades.
To do it.
But in the end, you saw it with Conor McGregor versus Floyd. If you're a jack of all trades, you're not going to be...
That means you're not an expert at one thing. Floyd is an expert at one thing, landing punches on your face.
Yeah.
And you're not going to beat him doing that.
And not getting hit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. The boxing people, they have a much longer career because their emphasis is on don't get hit versus MMA. Defense isn't really on the premium. It's more about taking your person out first.
Right.
So,
submission,
yeah, it's one of those things. It's so well run. I see it rising, but it's just kind of funny in this era of we're treating NFL completely differently. We're looking at concussions and being like, I don't like the look of that. And yet this stuff, we're just like, we want blood. It's like it's gladiator stuff. It really is.
It is.
But congrats to GSP. That was pretty cool. I think we went over Russell's. That's it for the silver medals, right?
Man.
All right, so we will be right back. We have a commercial break for a great show, Blunts and Brunch. That cute little bagel's named Baker. You gotta check out the show.
Yeah, we're doing comic strips now with Baker the Bagel. He's a He's a food stand-up comedian, so check that out on the Instagram as well.
Yeah, and you gotta check out Arthur Hamilton's show.
So funny.
It's one of the best shows, and it's gonna have a brand new location when we shoot it next time. So we are very excited. But in the meantime, check out those 2 episodes. We'll be right back.
No! When he whips it out, but you weren't ready. Oh shit! So you be getting them mysterious dick pics, huh?
Listen,
you getting them unsolicited bratwursts in your DMs.
Oh my gosh, one can only wish. Are you kidding me? Nobody sends me anything. I even have a fucking joke about it. They still don't send it to me. The only people that fucking send it live in like Pakistan or like fucking Turkmenistan. Like, I can't do shit with that. You know what I mean?
Dropping missiles in your DM.
Shout out to Pakistan!
Girl, black? Hey, we getting money.
Please tell me we're still recording. Please tell me we're still recording. That was hilarious. I thought I knew that.
Nah, bro. I was like, I saw him at the door, and I was like, yo, okay.
That's hilarious.
And we are back from commercial break. You just saw Blunts and Brunch. It's the newest show on Channel 310. It is hilarious. You need to check it out. So we are finally at our gold medal podium topics, the biggest sports stories of the week. Russell, let's get into it. I know you got a good one. What's your gold medal podium topic?
My gold medal podium topic, my boy, my favorite player in the game for the last 3 years. Giannis Antetokounmpo is tearing the league up right now. He's the front runner for MVP. And he dropped 40 on LeBron and the Cavs this week, even though his team lost by, I think, 4. He was unstoppable with 16 of 23 from the field. And I think the biggest story from that game, and not only the game, but Giannis' I guess, month of the season, he's become one of the unstoppable forces in the NBA. I think they're right now, if you look at their 9 guys, is that 5? That's 4, that's 9. Their 9 guys can take over a game at any time, whenever they want. Those guys are Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis. Those are 9, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is the 10th guy. He can take over a game defensively, blocking shots, jumping and passing lanes, going for transition buckets, and he could drop 40 with ease. He doesn't even really have a shot.
No.
Now, his three-point shot has improved this year, but he doesn't even use it. Like, he's just going to the basket. He's dunking over your whole team because, you know, he's 6'11". And I think it's one of the biggest things about Giannis. There's 2 guys in recent memory who have been able to, who have had a growth spurt after they were drafted. Paul George, who went from 6'8" to 6'11", and the other guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, was 6'9" when the Bucks drafted,
right,
and moved to 6'11". And people don't realize that 2 inches means a big deal.
Yeah. And I think
that means you're going from LeBron James height to Kevin Durant height.
Right.
And you look at how Kevin Durant can take Giannis takes 1 step at the free throw line, he's at the basket.
Yeah.
Actually, not even the free throw line.
I think he might be taller than 6'11".
Yeah, it's Anthony Davis was the most extreme one I heard because he was like a 6'1" guard and he was learning all these guard skills, and then he just like, his pituitary gland exploded and he got 10 more inches or something like that.
Crazy, man.
You know, and so but with Giannis, you didn't mention the most important statistic. I believe he's the most mentioned person on the podium with 3 separate episodes he's been on.
I mean,
because
he's that good.
He has been the story of the week 3 different times, and the NBA season.
It's almost something like we haven't seen since LeBron in like the late 2000s, when LeBron was just, like that game he had against the Pistons where he scored the last 25 in the playoffs. Like, and I think it's just so exciting. Or really, maybe when Steph Curry really broke out, and so now with Giannis, it's like this whole it's like meeting a new favorite player again. A lot of people might not even know who he was. Because, what he's doing is just ridiculous. And it's against grown men in the NBA who can't stop him, and he's 22 years old.
And the international appeal is so important.
Yeah,
it's like,
you know?
It's like Hakeem Olajuwon, you know? It's
Right.
just like, it's so important. He is really, his fluidity of movement, and I really do think part of it is because he grew up playing soccer and other sports. His footwork is phenomenal. People don't look at the little things like that, but his fundamentals are so strong.
Mm-hmm.
He is like a Greek Adonis when you look at his body.
He's a Greek
he
god.
is so fit.
He is a Greek god.
Here's the thing that you talk about. All great players, they just get more intensity in the fourth quarter. They have more energy when everyone else is tired.
Yeah.
They have more. He has that.
Yeah.
And he's so scary. And he reminds me of Hakeem the Dream and LeBron James
Put
in
in one player.
a body.
Yeah.
And if he can figure it out up here, which you can see he is starting to do because he played basketball at a late age because he was exposed to it late in Greece.
Yeah.
If he can figure it out up here, if he can be that, basketball genius that we saw Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson become, he's going to be one of the best of all time. And he could be the greatest international player we've ever had. Since Dirk. And then to me, Olajuwon's the greatest.
Yeah.
And so if anyone who's in the class of Nowitzki and Olajuwon,
already,
you got some.
Yeah, I think we got the international scene is going to really be happy with Kristaps, Porzingis, and Giannis because Kristaps Porzingis is killing right now.
Look, Kristaps is good, but he doesn't have the.
He had 40 the other night too.
I mean, he's good, but Giannis has that whoa factor. There's
a little bit more of an it factor with Giannis. I don't know.
I get that.
And it sucks because...
Not to say Kristaps isn't amazing.
Kristaps is an amazing player, and I don't think people really realize how good he is. And it's funny because people booed him in New York when they drafted him.
Right. That's probably the one thing New York has done right in the last 10 years is bring Kristaps Porzingis to New York.
Right.
Don't worry,
he'll leave. They're a team now with no Melo and no Phil Jackson.
Exactly. They're better. They're better.
Yeah.
But and it's gonna be exciting to see what Giannis does now with Eric Bledsoe being, because it's just like now Giannis is being double teamed. Eric Bledsoe can go off for 20 to 25 any night, and he was playing in Phoenix where he didn't have a guy like Giannis on the court with him.
Honestly,
so that's gonna be scary.
Eric Bledsoe is the second best player on their team already, and
their small lineup, which most teams, like we talked about earlier in the show, are playing with these transition lineups.
Yeah.
Their small lineup is going to be Eric Bledsoe at the 1. They're going to go Brogdon at the 2.
Yeah.
Or you can switch that Brogdon at the 1, Bledsoe at the 2.
Yeah.
Tony Snell at the 3, Chris Middleton at the 4, and Giannis at the 5.
That's getting up. They're gonna get up and go, man. That's gonna be a fun team to watch. And I like Brogdon and Bledsoe in the same backcourt together. I hope they do that.
Their best shooter used to be Tony freaking Snell, and now it's Eric Bledsoe.
And Chris Middleton is a great.
Chris Middleton put up 40 a couple nights ago too, they got some firepower now.
This Bucks team is gonna be scoring a lot of points. And this is all with Jabari Parker still being injured.
Do you think Giannis is gonna miss Greg Monroe?
No shot. He gonna be like, who?
now, because I like Greg Monroe's game. I think he's a good basketball player. But with a guy like Giannis who can go end to end, get to the rim, Greg Monroe's just getting in the way. Now you have Eric Bledsoe who's spreading the floor out. I've seen Eric Bledsoe get double teamed some nights.
Yeah,
he's 5'11", can get his shot. And I think I can't remember what sports journalist tweeted it the other day, but I think the Bucks getting another guy who can get their own shot off whenever they want. Because Chris Middleton is good, he's a spot up shooter. Tony Snell is good, he's a spot up shooter. Malcolm Brogdon is still figuring out his offensive game. Eric Bledsoe is a legit scorer in the NBA that can get off on anybody. And so with adding that to Giannis Antetokounmpo, I don't know what the Bucks are gonna do, but I think it's gonna be nice. So
yeah,
Giannis running the point. He doesn't have to run the point anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So yeah, and so I just to me it's you look at Eric Bledsoe and he's gonna be the best player. He's gonna be the best player besides Giannis, and in the end, the spacing he's gonna create for everybody it's going to be.
I'd like to see where they're going to be a month from now, like 3-point shooting wise, like in the ranks, because
They'll probably be top 10, top 5 maybe.
Yeah, they'll probably be up there with Portland and Golden State with 3-point shooting.
And honestly, I was trying to trap you guys, but yeah, Greg Monroe, the spacing, he was getting in the way.
And that doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just system over everything, I think. So
yeah, and in the end, you can lose a piece and get better if your system is going to be more fluid and efficient. We are getting to our gold medal topics with Niles. So what do you got?
Man, my boy LiAngelo, bro.
Oh, this might be the biggest story.
Free my boy Jello too. Dang, I'm freeing all the niggas on this episode, man.
Why are we freeing him?
Here's the thing, bro. I lived in China for a little bit, man. I lived in China for a little bit twice, and both times when I was in China, I was accused of stealing because I was the only black person in the store.
Okay.
And so it's like, I can't, when I first saw the story, I can't just jump on and be like, they did it. Because there's even been more, if you keep reading, there's more development now. Basically, they're saying a pair of sunglasses were missing. They didn't find it on anybody's person. Does it take 3 guys that are 6'5" to steal one pair of sunglasses? I don't think so. And so it's just like, I'm not going to say they did it, but I'm not going to say they didn't. But it's just like, what do we say, Russ? You don't even want to have the appearance of evil. You know what I'm saying? The appearance of evil. And it's just like, that's a Bible term. And so it's just like, guys, everybody knows Georgia Tech and UCLA are playing in Shanghai, China. Y'all the tallest, blackest people in the whole damn country.
Yeah.
Don't be doing, I wouldn't even do stuff like that. I wouldn't even put in fact, if I walked in the store, my hands would be behind my back. And it's just like,
Can I ask, what did you do in those situations when they accused you?
I just told they made me unzip my backpack and show everything, and I was like, I didn't steal anything. I promise. Show them my backpack.
Why couldn't they do that though?
Well, here's the thing. So they didn't catch if they did steal anything. They didn't catch them at the store. They saw security footage that was debatable or I guess suspicious, and so they went to the hotel that the teams were staying at because their hotel is by the Louis Vuitton store. Mm-hmm. And so they questioned the Georgia Tech players, then the UCLA players, and then after hours of investigation, they took LiAngelo Ball and 2 of the other UCLA teammates to the police station. And so they just got out on bail yesterday, but they also might have to stay in China for another month or 2 for legal reasons. Because China, the justice system is really tough on robbery and things like that. And if they are convicted, it could be anywhere from 3 to 10 years in Chinese prison. And it's just like you just went to Shanghai to have fun, to play in a basketball game. You facing 3 to 10 years of prison time in another country that you're not a citizen. Anything could go on in there. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a scary position to be 18 or 19. And it's just funny, when Ryan Lochte was in Brazil, and he did all that crazy mess, and he was drunk, and there's video of him kicking down doors and all this kind of stuff. What did these sportscasters and people on NBC say? Oh, he's just a kid. Ryan Lochte was 27 damn years old. This nigga was 6 years younger than Jesus. No. And so it's just like, LiAngelo Ball and these UCLA kids are 18, 19. They actually are kids, but I'm not seeing anybody come to their defense. I'm not seeing anybody make excuses for them. And I don't want to bring race into it, but they all black. And so it's just like, where is everybody caping for them? You know what I'm saying? And it was also kind of bothered me that people are just like laughing and making jokes and it's like they want LiAngelo Ball to be convicted for this, and they want him to be guilty. It's just like, it's weird.
We talked about this. This is the problem with LeVar Ball. He puts a target on your back. Now everyone in a situation where normally we'd be like, oh no, I feel bad for the kid.
You want
now
the kid
we're
to go to prison in China?
No, I'm not saying this. I'm just saying
that's very mature.
I'm just saying I know there's a lot of people who normally would not have an opinion on this kid.
What target has LeVar put on Jello's back? He doesn't even talk about Jello.
I'm just saying, it's a ball. I wouldn't know about that.
That's just weird to me because my dad is loud and talks and started his own shoe brand and makes very dumb in basketball terminology. People make fun of me and they want me to go to prison in China. Like that just shows how stupid people are.
They were filming the reality show during this whole thing. They were filming that reality show in China. The whole family was there. To me, I don't like the vibe because I want to know more about I don't know. We're getting back into that stuff, but to me, I do wonder though, were they framed? Like, pardon the pun.
I don't know.
Were they actually was it their fault? It does look like American elitism and American entitlement, and that's the problem is when you're a black person in a communist country, you have to be on your toes, and so if they did it, they're gonna look stupid, and they're not gonna have really any sympathy. But here's the thing: I could really see what you said and say that maybe it was just stolen, and then they looked at them because they were black. I get that, but I'm telling you, if they stole it,
I hope they did. This is gonna be really bad.
It's gonna look terrible.
It's gonna look really bad.
Yeah.
And it's just like with UCLA, they're in a really tough position because it's just kind of like now. What do you do as a school? And it's like it's crazy. It's like you have to just keep saying like, oh, we're waiting for more developments and this kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure it's like a dumpster fire in that office right now, trying to figure out how to deal with the press and publicity and all these things because like that's just not good. It's not good to even be accused of this thing.
Yeah. By the way, what did you call this?
Man, I heard people calling them big burglar brand and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully it didn't happen. Hopefully it's just a mix up.
I really do. I never thought about it, and you got me on this. I really do think they were framed. I think they were being racially profiled, and it was them who...
Because they called the Georgia Tech kids in first, so it's like, if you saw the security footage, then you see who it is, I would assume.
Well, this dude's way more famous than those dudes.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's just kind of a weird coincidence that he was the one called in, and if you saw the headlines, LiAngelo Ball, and then 2 UCLA teammates. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. And they were doing some pop-up shop stuff in Shanghai, selling their merch and things. So they know who they are. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to say they're framed. I don't want to say they stole. I guess we'll just have to wait to see, what's going to develop from this. Hopefully it's a mix-up.
But I do love how, as Americans, we're like, oh my God, you gotta watch out for the police over there. It's like, no, you gotta watch out for the police here. Yeah. Actually.
Right.
But it's whatever. It's just when you're in a communist country, watch your shit because they can literally do whatever they want with you. That's the whole point of why you want to be here.
Yep.
But hey, Big Baller Brand, you guys are killing it. I'm excited to watch that episode of the reality show. By the way, that's gonna be good TV. My gold medal topic. This has been developing. We talked about it on the last episode of the Podium. I didn't think it would get to this point, actually. I predicted that and I was wrong. Jerry Jones has collected a group of NFL owners and some of the most powerful ones in the group. And they're all threatening to sue the NFL if basically they're going to sue the NFL to try to block Roger Goodell's contract extension. And essentially, Jerry Jones the whole impetus of this has been the Ezekiel Elliott suspension being upheld, essentially, that they couldn't get more stays granted to kind of delay it. And it's kind of funny because Jerry Jones, to me, he was saying a bunch of good stuff about Roger Goodell during Deflategate.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm not on his side at all on this because it's like you're so hypocritical. When you were, I mean, I get it. Roger Goodell sucks. He's like the Donald Trump of the NFL. He screws up everything. But in the end, Jerry Jones, you were not like this when Tom Brady was getting screwed over.
Right.
And he didn't beat a woman, and that was a big part of this. He deflated a ball.
Yeah.
It's much more murky with your guy.
Exactly.
And so for me, this is kind of a weird thing for him to like take his final stand on the Hill. But what do you guys think about this insurrection?
Jerry Jones, the one thing he's always looking out for is Jerry Jones. And
very true.
When you look at what he's doing, that's what he's trying to save his own ass. It's like, I love it because, it's doing something to Roger Goodell. I cannot stand him. But I can't stand Jerry Jones either. I can't stand none of these owners. I'm going to call my boy P. Diddy up because we about to start our own league, so y'all don't have to worry about this no more. We about to wipe them all away. So.
The Ciroc League?
Exactly. The Ciroc League, man. We already got a sponsor, so it's all straight.
Right. I think if you think about it, this is Jerry Jones throwing his last effort temper tantrum to try to throw the rest of the league into this chaos so that his guy doesn't have to be the one to take the fall.
Right.
It wasn't Ezekiel Elliott. He'd be right up there. No, he paid the consequences. He did the consequences, or he did what he did. Now he has to pay the consequences. But he was quiet when Tom Brady got suspended, right?
Exactly. He didn't say nothing.
Not to say
the play game was okay, but he was quiet.
It's such small potatoes compared to what Ezekiel is dealing with, and I think that's one of the biggest issues. Right. Is just in comparison, you look so hypocritical.
The NFL has been the biggest soap opera this year, man.
Well, the interesting thing with this is, like, historically, we've had owners like this before. Al Davis, the Raiders, was notoriously out to get the NFL, suing the NFL constantly, but everyone knew Al Davis was kind of out for himself. The one thing about Jerry Jones is he's made the owners more money than any of the other owners.
Yeah.
Collectively, what he's done with his stadium and all in the end, all these owners do revenue sharing. Mm-hmm. So when Jerry Jones is making more money for himself, that gets spread out amongst all the owners, and he in the end is so influential in those rooms when it comes to making money. They all take advice on how to make money from Jerry Jones. Yeah. So in a room of 32 egomaniacs, he's the one they look to. So this is incredibly important what he's doing. This is an insurrection of the owners to take over your guy who you pay $40 million a year for. Mm-hmm. You think Roger Goodell's going to give that up that easy? No. Making $40 million for doing like very little, and he screws up 99% of the time.
Exactly, he doesn't even do a good job. So.
Like, look with Colin Kaepernick, just sign him. Just have him signed, and your whole situation's over. But it's taken him a year and a half, and he still hasn't figured it out yet. And so, yes, Jerry Jones, Roger Goodell is pretty incompetent, but when he was your incompetent dummy, you loved him.
Yeah.
But now that he's against you, you don't like him. And I think it's just so hypocritical. Yeah. But any final thoughts on this, Russ?
No, I think you guys hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
All right, so after our gold medal topics, we go to the winner's circle and the podium of shame. The winner's circle is the best stories in the week of sports, and the podium of shame is the worst stories in the week of sports. So let's start with the winner's circle. Niles, who do you got in your winner's circle right now?
My winner's circle is definitely the Boston Celtics right now. Just they're playing hot, playing good together as a team, and like you were saying earlier, it's 3/4 of the team is brand new. So the fact that they're gelling, Kyrie's leading the team well. I really didn't expect them to play this well, especially with Gordon Hayward, being injured. So kudos to the Celtics. Danny Ainge, you actually got something right, man. Good job.
Dang, we both got Eastern Conference basketball teams in our winner's circle. I got the Sixers. Their 5-game winning streak. They whooped up my Jazz. They made us look silly at home. We're a tough team to beat at home, and they beat us pretty handily. Ben Simmons. We should have mentioned him in the Giannis Antetokounmpo conversation, because if anyone looks anything like Giannis, it's that Ben Simmons kid. He is long. He does a lot of different things very well. He's a stat stuffer. Yeah. And if that Sixers team could stay healthy and just play together for consistent minutes like the Boston Celtics are doing and you're mentioning, they could be the Boston Celtics in a few years. Not now, but they could build towards something in that process.
Especially when Markelle Fultz gets more comfortable. I think Markelle Fultz can be definitely a great scoring option.
Yeah, once he gets over his shoulder thing, I think that's another.
Got to rebuild the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've heard part of the reason why he has to rebuild the shot is the shoulder.
Yeah.
So it's it could be a chicken or the egg, but either way, he's got time. Yeah. Shots come. You saw Jason Kidd. Shots come.
He'll be fine.
Russell, who's your winner's circle this week?
My winner's circle person for the week is Eric Bledsoe, being able to get out of that situation in Phoenix and move to a really good team already that could use his skill set and make them better in the East. Going to the Milwaukee Bucks is great for Eric Bledsoe, great for Giannis, great for that city of Milwaukee, who haven't had a really good team since those Michael Redd teams. The Milwaukee Bucks are a fun team to watch. I would definitely watch a Milwaukee Bucks game any night to see Giannis go at it. But especially now they have Bledsoe, running gun, they're gonna be a really good team to watch.
All right, so we are now to my personal favorite part of the show, the Podium of Shame. This is what we consider the worst people or worst person in the sports world this week. Russell, do you want to start us off with Podium of Shame?
It's almost too easy to say Jerry Jones is on the Podium of Shame because it's just like every time you look up, Jerry's saying something to make himself look stupid. Jerry's saying something to make the NFL look stupid. But unfortunately, that's where he finds himself this week. Jerry Jones, you're on the Podium of Shame. Just shut up. Let go. You have all this depth. I know you want to be the person with the right answer all the time for every question in every situation, but you're not.
Yeah.
You and Papa John can go sit and have some nasty pizza and all right? Because he's like, besides Papa John himself, he has the most, the biggest stockholder in Papa John.
He owns like over 100 stores, I think.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was great, Russell.
He
that
owns
was
a bunch
great
of Papa
shit.
John's. Makes sense.
That's
Jerry Jones looks like he's never eaten food this season. So makes a lot of sense. Not a good business. You should have done Wingstop like Rick Ross.
Dang, that was a tough.
But he's black, so you might have trouble talking to him. So.
God damn, that was such a good podium.
Has Jerry
of shame,
Jones
Russell.
ever talked to a black person instead of ordering a black person around or ordering something from a black person?
I mean, I'm sure he's talked to a black person before and then said the word boy at the end, you know.
Definitely seems like a fact.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I think we need to try to get up to that level of Podium of Shame. What do you got, Niles? Can you match what Russell just brought to the table?
My Podium of Shame is the Raiders locker room. You guys may not, if you've watched the Breakfast Club this past week, Brent Grimes, the DB for the Buccaneers, his wife, Miko Grimes, she's hilarious.
She's crazy.
She's hilarious, bro.
As a Dolphins fan, I'm glad you're off the team.
She's hilarious. The police attacked her at the Dolphins Stadium, though. Let's not forget about that. And the Dolphins wouldn't let the police use the security footage, and she's let her ass beat by the police, and that's not right. So F the Dolphins, first of all. And so the Dolphins encourage police brutality. So here's the thing on her podcast. She didn't break this story. Everybody's mad at her for she didn't break the story. Another person came on that has an inside information in the Raiders locker room and basically said that the reason Derek Carr has had trouble and may have gotten a couple injuries in the pocket is because his black offensive line does not want to block for him because he made a spectacle in the locker room about how he didn't want them kneeling for the national anthem and this is America and they need to respect America, and he tried to use the Bible to explain to them why they need to do something. As a white guy, I don't know if you want to use the Bible to make black people do stuff, because the last time that happened, slavery. So Derek Carr, not the best idea, bro. I don't know how true these statements are, but everybody's mad at Miko for breaking the story. But when she didn't, she said it on her own podcast, and then they asked her about it on a bigger podcast, which is the Breakfast Club. So of course, if you say something on a bigger platform, people say it was your message, but it wasn't her message. And so one of the Raiders offensive linemen was like coming at her on Twitter, and she made him look like an idiot. Because apparently he was talking about big bad on Twitter, but he was crying on the phone to her husband saying like, tell her to stop, bro. And so like the Raiders locker room looked like a bunch of middle school girls that are like arguing, fighting before games and stuff like this. So Podium of Shame to you guys. Like, y'all just look like a bunch of kids whining on Twitter, crying, not blocking for each other. Like, it's hilarious, but what can you expect from the Oakland Raiders, man? Honestly.
Except Marshawn Lynch, you're doing great work with your internet show.
Hey, that show is dope, though.
He's the only one out exempted from the Podium.
Shout out
of
to
Shame.
Miko though. I heart Miko. She's hilarious. I follow her on Twitter and I'm laughing all day.
Man, that Miko is something else, man.
Thank you.
I want to get her on the phone.
Thank you.
They were there for a while, man. I'm good for them.
I want to get her on the podium one week, bro.
Miko a lot, man. I don't know. I might not be on that week.
Yeah. She's my hero. Shout out to Miko. I love you, girl. You're amazing.
I'll say this right now. If you're ever dating a Miko type when we're running 310, it's gonna be a problem.
She making money, bro. She getting the money.
She's also losing money for her man.
She's not.
She lost.
There's been some people that said they wouldn't sign because Miko a little out there.
Yeah.
She got him a bigger contract.
She's she's circus potential.
She got him a bigger contract with Tampa Bay because they paid him more money than Miami was going to. He's getting paid $16.5 million a year.
But that's one team though. You could have had a lot more teams offering you contracts.
Yeah,
bro, $16.5 million. My woman can give me $16.5 million. We can go live in Topeka, Kansas. Okay.
How much is Topeka, Kansas?
For $16 million? Bet. Somebody give me $16 million. I'm in Topeka, Kansas tomorrow.
Oh man.
Shout out to Miko.
Yeah, Mika Grimes. Wow, you made it onto the podium.
I'm trying to get on her podcast.
She tries.
Me and her will have fun on an episode.
She tries to make it onto every show.
Hey.
So I'm gonna have to my podium of shame. Last week I talked about Ndamukong Suh, and I said we need to chill out with the NFL fights. And then Mike Evans and AJ Green said hold my beer, because first of all, did you see AJ Green? He punched a dude.
AJ Green took suspended for at least 2 games. Like that is unacceptable.
First of all, he landed more punches than Floyd Mayweather has in his entire career on that poor young man. He got
poor young man. Oh
I'm just kidding.
Jalen, poor young man.
Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey.
Here's the thing, though.
Like, the fact that Mike Evans got suspended and AJ Green did is a travesty.
Yeah,
I think AJ Green's probably gonna end up getting suspended though.
Yeah,
but Jalen Ramsey shouldn't have pushed him like that.
Yeah,
so like I get why AJ Green did it. Not condoning it. I'm never gonna condone violence, but I get it. Mike Evans just came out of nowhere and was like, "Oh, this dude's yelling at my quarterback. I'm gonna push him. I'm gonna knock the crap out of him."
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
pushing punches are 2 different things to me. Like,
yeah. For AJ Green, he landed a combination on Jalen. It was amazing.
Jalen Ramsey shouldn't have. Jalen didn't want them problems.
When you're crazy enough to punch someone in the helmet,
I think that's dumb. Especially when you use your hands. You're a receiver. Come on.
That's part of why he's on my podium of shame. It's like it's literally one of the dumbest things you could do is punch someone.
He's one of my favorite receivers too. But come on, AJ.
I love
Think of your fantasy football fans, bro. Think of your fantasy football fans.
Or think about your hands. Not your fantasy football fans. Think about your hands.
Hey, they ain't got nothing to do with my pockets.
But yeah, it was just all these fights in the NFL. It's like,
it's the biggest soap opera in the world right now.
I mean, obviously it's a violent sport, but come on, guys.
Go home, NFL. You're drunk.
Yeah, but damn, this is. Those were so. Let's organize the winner circle really quick. Who's the winner of the winner on our winner circle? We got the Sixers. We got the Celtics.
You got Eric Bledsoe.
And Eric Bledsoe.
I say Eric Bledsoe. Anytime you can get out of a team that's not going anywhere. The terrible organization. Phoenix is not a good organization, and they haven't been for the last 4 or 5 years. You can get out of that and go to a winning situation with the guy who's probably playing the best basketball I've seen in a while. Mm-hmm. It's a winning situation. I have to put him on the top.
Oh yeah.
And I'd probably put Boston 2 and probably Philly 3rd.
Yeah, I agree. That's good. All right, and then podium of shame. This is a good one. This is a really good one. I'm willing to put the fights at the bronze.
Jerry's at the top. He's just making a fool out of himself at this point.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders. That's a situation.
That's close.
Jones to be dumb and to be like that.
Yeah.
You can't have that, especially when the Raiders are priding themselves on being a united team and having this team that we're so close, and then this come on now.
Yeah,
like
maybe
you can't. So I understand disagreeing with somebody, but to like that
fighting in the locker room,
like some of those injuries that Derek Carr had, those are really bad. Like quarterbacks get popped, man.
Yeah, man.
And to not block for somebody, that's serious.
Yeah.
That's serious.
Allegedly.
So Jerry Jones versus the Raiders is a tough one.
It's a coin flip for me.
I can see both of them. Russell decide it for us.
I think Derek Carr pulling the Bible out, trying to enslave them. I'm a lover of the Bible too, and I ain't ever tried to enslave a nigga with it.
And it sucks because I really like Derek Carr, man, but
allegedly pulled the Bible out.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Jerry has enough gold. Let's give him a silver for once.
Yeah, all right.
So the Raiders, your first gold on the podium of shame.
This is the biggest win the Raiders have gotten in like 20 years.
Yeah, congratulations, Derek Carr. You look like the evil kid from Toy Story.
He do look like Sid.
You know.
Whatever she says, it's not true.
But yeah, it's been a crazy ride. This has been such a good episode of the Podium, guys.
Man.
I learned so much. Legit, it was a great episode. We shoot every Thursday here in Hollywood. Russell comes to you live from Chicago. Please check out his article. It is really interesting.
Especially
it's really
if you're a Cubs
good.
fan, it's a good insight.
Yeah, he really breaks it down on Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, and if you happen to be in India this weekend, go watch my movie.
Shout out his movie.
Too broke to go see it.
Induced Effect.
Yeah, premiering globally at the ACF Global Film Fest, the Asian Center of Film. So it's exciting. West Bengal, India. A lot of Asian people gonna see the movie. Hope they like it. I actually met a girl. This girl that works at Sal's. She acted in a movie that's at that same film festival. Because we were talking about it.
That's
cool. She acted in a movie. She's Indian and she's Indian American. She's born over here, but she acted in a movie with 2 Bollywood stars over there. And so she said, it's a big deal. The movie's there. Some big Bollywood investors are gonna be there. So hopefully they send me some rent money.
There's only like 90 million people in West Bengal.
Oh, Bollywood.
You know?
Hey, a nigga had bed bugs last week, Bollywood. Help me out. You enjoying my movie? Throw me some coin. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so Induced Effect is that movie. Check out the article about Jackie Bradley. I have absolutely nothing going on in my life but what you're watching right now. Please check out the Podium, See Your Black People Meeting, and Blunts and Brunch with Arthur Hamilton. And we come here every Thursday here at the Podium, and we break down the biggest sports stories. We'll see you next Thursday here in Hollywood and Chicago.
All right.
See you, Russ.